discover Planet of the Apes. A civilization where humans run wild in the jungles. And the superior beings are apes.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Whoop, whoop.
This week, we'll be discussing the science fiction classic, Planet of the Apes, starring Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowell, and others.
And all the rest are here on Gilligan's Isle.
So, there you have it. Good times. I've been wanting to do this movie for a while because I have fond memories of it. Let me say it that way. What are your thoughts and feelings?
It has the best misquote ever. Get your filthy hands off of me, you damn dirty ape!
It's filthy paws.
Whatever. It's right up there with the "from my cold dead hand."
Where do you think it comes from? Yeah. Exactly. From my cold dead paw.
My
basically.
cold dead monkey paw. That's why right. He's so in favor of the NRA, because he knows that the apes are rising.
Do you know what's funny? Like, when the movie starts, he does this long old kind of left-wing soliloquy. It's like, well, it's been 3,000 years. Will we steal from our brother? Will we ignore our neighbor's crying children to hoard more for ourselves?
And the answer was yes.
Yes.
After he became Republican, he said absolutely yes.
Well, that's, not to get on a jag.
I'm sure he was always a Republican, not to get on a jag.
He wasn't. He was, here's the thing. A lot of...
Tell me more, Brother Bear.
Charlton Heston marched with Martin Luther King, for God's sakes, in the 60s. He was totally pro-civil rights, and then something happened, and he says, I didn't change. The Democratic Party changed. What that really means is he was hanging out more with Ronald Reagan, one of his actor buddies.
And John Wayne. And the three of them would drink whiskey and swap wives.
And swap wives? That's how it starts. It always starts with that. No, and there's a lot of those. He didn't say, it's been 3,000 years. Are they still trying to take away my gun rights? That should... Jesus. Who can say? Maybe that was on the cutting room floor.
It was in there. It was in the original script.
In the original. Give us your 30-second synopsis of Planet of the Apes.
Rocket crashes into pond. It looks like the Grand Canyon. Maybe it's Lake Powell. Who the hell knows? Wander through desert, and within 15 minutes, you're in a jungle. It looks like Hawaii. 2 minutes later, you've run into like Chaka from Land of the Lost and all his family.
Sure.
2 minutes later, clearly everybody's running. Maybe you better get out of the way. Monkeys rule the world, and I don't know. I like that they threw in some. What is it? Some monkeys are more equal than others. They threw a little Animal Farm in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's Earth. We all ruined it. You bastards! Yeah! Whatever. I can't remember what they said. Spoiler alert.
He says,
it's Earth.
They blew it up! You maniacs!
You maniacs. I don't know who...
God damn you to hell! That's there you go.
Honestly, this thing is they're criticizing organized religion.
Oh, absolutely.
They're criticizing arms races, equal rights. This has got everything covered.
Charlton was a very complicated guy.
Charlton didn't write the script.
He wrote it. These are from his memoirs, actually. They said, do a pass on that script.
Maybe Omega Man's the one who pushed the button.
Exactly.
Obviously, it's all part
of
the Marvel universe. Is that right?
It is. It's a connected Charlton Hestiverse. Now, obviously, we've all seen this movie 1,000 times. Do you remember when you saw it the first time?
I'm sure it was on TV.
Yes, I'm sure that's true.
I'm
I'm sure
sure
that's
that
how I
was,
saw it as well.
and that's because when did it come out?
68.
Yeah, and I don't think our folks were taking me as an infant.
Does- to
I'm
see
sure
Planet of the
mom
Apes.
and dad are like, "Hey, honey, I just got back from court. Let's get a babysitter for tiny baby Aaron, and we'll get drunk and go see Planet of the Apes." And mom was like, "That sounds amazing, Morgan."
It's what people would do back in 68.
That's what
Pretty
people would
standard.
do. I just can't imagine our people.
People. No, I think you're right. It's like, it's KTLA Saturday afternoon movie,
Uh-huh.
Planet of the Apes. They would do from time to time, they would do like a marathon. And okay, let me ask you this. How many of the other movies have you seen? Any?
I think I may have seen one of the other ones. Underneath the planet, above the planet, next to the planet, something
That is
something.
correct. Well, let me break it down for you. Obviously, you got the original Planet of the Apes, the classic, Roddy McDowell, Charlton Heston.
A
Then you have
solid linear story,
easy to follow. We
easy
got
to
it.
easy to goof on.
Then a few years later, they had Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Charlton Heston was contractually obligated to appear, but he said, I'm only going to show up for the last 5 minutes, and then you better kill me. So they replaced him for most of the movie with another astronaut who finds his way to the planet, James Franciscus, who was another blonde bearded guy, close enough for government service. Okay, this movie had gorillas, but also had crazy mutants who worshiped the nuclear bomb.
What happened to the black guy? They could have brought him back because he got shot, but we don't know. Nobody really checked. They could have performed surgery on him and brought him back.
No, remember he's stuffed in the museum.
Oh shit, that's right.
Right, he gets stuffed in the museum. It's racist. He's stuffed in the museum while the other white guy just gets a lobotomy, so he gets to wander
Yikes.
around like a zombie.
I like when they were going to castrate him. He heard that clear enough.
Geld him. Bring
Geld
him in for the gelding. Then you have Escape from the Planet of the Apes, where no more Charlton. It's now Roddy McDowell and Kim Hunter, who plays Zira. They jumped on a spaceship, who the hell knows how, and wound their way back up to 70s Earth.
Oh, see, now that might have been kind of fun to see.
And that's, you are introduced to Eric Braeden. He's in this movie as the antagonist. You remember him? He was Victor Newman from Young and the Restless.
Brother, why did we waste our time with this version of Planet of the Apes when we could have watched Victor and Nikki communicate with monkeys?
That is correct. And Ricardo Montalban is in that one as well.
You're
So that's what's
selling this, man. Why'd you keep that in your pocket? Although
I'm saving it. Maybe we come back, take another swing.
I may have seen this. Is there some scene where they're looking at monkeys in the zoo and are horrified?
Yes, it was a circus.
And
It was a circus.
And was there a baby monkey that dies? Do they have a baby or something?
Yes. Zira is Prego, but they switched the baby with just a regular old chimpanzee. So when, spoiler alert, Cornelius and Zira are killed and their chimp baby is killed, they think, oh, it's all over. But there's a little intelligent chimp in the circus going, Mama, Mama. So.
Yikes. Yeah, but as we learn language development, if someone's not over there nurturing baby mama monkey, it's just going to be a monkey with a straighter spine.
The sympathetic ringmaster, Ricardo Montalban, is there to raise it as a son, which leads us directly to Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which takes place slightly in the future, as seen through the late 70s, where it now is the now grown-up chimpanzee, also played by Roddy McDowell. I think his name was like Caesar or something. He leads a rebellion against the people, and
who's he leading?
The other idiotic chimps and gorillas and orangutans.
Just from the zoo? Rebellion. Because they're not, They don't have
Okay.
the advanced intelligence, right?
This is a question. Here's what happens. A plague has struck in the earth,
Oh.
strucken is not a word, that only affects house pets. So no one has dogs or cats anymore. Now they all have, chimps and gorillas and orangutans rolling around in their apartments.
And how many of them get their face eaten when that happens?
They skip over that part,
He
sadly.
wouldn't even be able to communicate with him. He speaks English, not monkey shines. And are we assuming that all monkeys communicate with each other no matter what their species?
I'm just trying to say, who the hell would want a 500-pound mountain gorilla walking around in their apartment helping with menial tasks? That would scare the hell out of me.
Pop your head like a grape. So here's a story from Tales from My Friend. So my friends up in the Bay Area had a neighbor who had a pet monkey. I cannot tell you. It's not a chimpanzee. I don't know what it is.
Okay, we have to stop you. There's monkeys and they're apes, and they're not the same thing.
I don't know what it is. It's a monkey and or ape. So the husband decides to play with it like it's a child. And you know how sometimes you grab a kid's arms and you swing them?
Yep.
And kids love that. Ha ha ha. Monkey not so much. The monkey was so upset it just shit. So as he's swinging around the living room, he is spraying a level line of shit all the way around the room.
If that's all that happens when you're dealing with chimpanzees, consider yourself lucky, because they are maniacs and freaks. A good time. And we're not going to get into all the recorded times where somebody tried to raise a chimpanzee as their little baby only to have their face torn off.
Yeah.
We're gonna yada yada that. So there was one more movie of the original timeline called Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which again takes place now in a more distant future where still people around who can still talk and do things like that. But it's basically now society is run by the apes. So it's kind of time is a flat circle. It leads directly back into the original movie where now humans are savages in the woods. So there you go. Good times.
Well, it's not like we didn't earn that.
That's true. And I'm not even talking about the remake, which isn't technically a remake. It's also considered part of the thread, the Mark Wahlberg movie that came out in the early 2000s. And then the more recent ones, which are also considered part of the same framework somehow.
Is this like Star Wars? Where's the prequel?
It's the very upsetting thing is when you meet the young chimpanzee who's whining and complaining about, oh, people don't pay me enough respect. If only they knew I'm the smartest monkey. That's what we need. We need that the teenage angst of Cornelius. Can we get that?
But we have that same teenage angst with Cornelius's nephew in the movie we're reviewing.
Lucius.
Power.
Yes, he says, this is inexcusable, Dr. Zaius. Yeah, you're going to prison, pal. Good luck. Shall we jump right in, for God's sake?
We jumped in, we swam for a bit, we crawled out the other side of the pond and laid on the beach for 5 minutes.
Can we talk about how you can always tell how dated a movie is? About how and under what circumstances people are just puffing away, just smoking cigarettes. Yeah, I'm on a spaceship. I'm an astronaut in outer space. Where are my Marlboros? Where's my Newports? I got to puff away.
My first note is he chomping on a Steiga, and when he's done, he unzips a part of his space jacket and just drops it in his pocket.
You gotta look. You're in space. You can't just run to the 7-Elevens. You gotta save that butt for later. If you ain't done,
they've been up there for months.
Yes. Well, we don't know how long. It's been forever. It's been so long that they're like, basically, this mission that they were sent on in space, there's 4 astronauts. It's like so much time has passed. It's been thousands of years on Earth as of this point. So he's like, I didn't really know anybody or care about anybody back on Earth. Who cares?
Well,
what kind of mission is this?
We don't know what the mission is and what is the purpose, because by the time they wake up, everybody's dead.
Yes. It's like you might as well just say like, "Oh, we're conducting a mission to outer space," and then just crash the spaceship into a volcano, because that's all the scientific information you're going to get from it.
It is.
Good
It is a
times.
fact. No idea what the hell's going on.
Who the hell knows? So then, after his bizarro soliloquy, they go into hypersleep for another indeterminate amount of time, and don't wake up until they're crashing on this planet. Why are they crashing? Did they run out of gas? Who in the hell knows?
Maybe that Steiger started a fire. We don't know.
Exactly. Could be.
Maybe the person who died in that cabin below Charlton Heston is from secondhand smoke.
You're damn Skippy. They crash. All three dudes survive. The one hot blonde is now an old desiccated mummified crone. So there went their chances for love. I don't know. Love Island. Who's to say? Very sad.
Yeah, were they supposed to start a new colony? Because really, you would want more women than men if that was the case.
If that's the case, you only need one dude. And then you have like 15 ladies. This is now become my fantasy for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
For when you crash on the Planet of the Apes.
Why? I'm virile. There's
frankly,
it
reminded me when they put Charlton Heston in the cage with the woman. It reminded me of Evil Dead when he kept referring to the women. What did he would go on and on. You get your savage hands off of me, like basically.
That was just pillow talk, baby.
Oh my god,
that was good stuff.
That was good.
We should do Army of Darkness sometime.
I know, that's a classic.
Total classic. Is Charlton Heston kind of a dick?
He is a dick, and everyone hates him.
Right. So he's
the monkeys hate him too.
Well, right. Everybody hates him. It's like he crashes. There's two other astronauts with him, Landon and Dodge, and he spends 45 minutes at the beginning of the movie just busting Landon's chops nonstop. We know why Dodge is here on this mission. He's interested in discovering science. But why are you here, Landon?
My God.
You suck.
Well, this is why his relationship with Chaka is going to last forever, because she can't talk and has no idea what kind of trash is coming out of his mouth.
Well, it's hilarious because later in the movie, Heston's in the cage. You know, they think he's just a brainless savage, and they push the remarkably attractive and clean jungle woman Nova into the cage with him. And at one point, you think he's going to be like, "What? I'm not just some animal who's here to amuse you." No, he's like, "Okay,
let's go.
Sounds good to me. What do I sign?"
Oh yeah, they were spooning and snuggling. Yeah, interestingly, everybody else literally looks like Chaka, including the messed up teeth, except for this little gal.
Yes, everybody else is a damn Neanderthal. Except for Penthouse Playmate 68, who rolls in there. Again, remarkably clean, and I'm sure pleasant smelling while we're at it. Mm-hmm. Good Lord. There's a scene when Landon pulls out an American flag and kind of plants it in the sand for, I guess they're claiming the planet.
Right.
Is that what they were supposed to think? Charlton looks at it and does the most bizarre for 20, the camera zooms in on it as he's laughing at the guy. It's like, have you gone insane, Charlton? I'm just going to call him Charlton. His character's name's Taylor. I'm calling him Charlton.
Do it.
So,
or Bright Eyes. You can call him Bright Eyes. Would you like that?
Right. What about him suggested Bright Eyes, by the way?
Yeah.
Good Lord. He gets captured later, and I guess she's an animal psychologist, Dr. Zira, who likes to study the humans for reasons. Why does she study the humans?
She thinks they might be smart.
She thinks that they're there's a connection, we're related to the chimps. Hang on.
Uh-huh.
Evolution. So she calls him Bright Eyes because it's like, oh, look at him. He's pretending to speak. And I'm like, he's doing a really shitty job pretending to speak. It was like you could have absolutely communicated or at least showed flashes of recognition when they're speaking to you.
Absolutely. You could have waved, hello, hand gestures. I'd like a nice a big pizza pie, YMCA, something.
Something. It's a lot of just him kind of going, like, I would have thought he was brain damaged. So, sad situation. Because he keeps grabbing her, too. And acting like a crazy...
Make the gesture like you're writing on your hand and point to her. You have to, like, grab her and put her in a chokehold to try to get her piece of paper away. She's
right.
on your side, dude, so maybe the chokehold's unnecessary.
I agree with you on that. She's obviously kind of an animal rights person or a human rights person in this scenario.
Well, he could have soured that.
Oh, very easily. She could have been like, oh, I guess I was wrong about you, Bright Eyes. Get the gelding machine ready.
I'm going to take care of that personally, but except I'm going to use a rock.
It's a sad situation. Earlier in the movie, Charlton and the gang discover the people roaming around eating corn off the stalks, and then the gorillas show up on horseback and just start mowing them down. Do we know why they're shooting all the people?
Well, they're a plague.
So just, wipe them out. That's all we care about.
Well, because later on, Dr. Sayus reads a quote from their Bible about warnings about the humans, how they decimate their area and then move over to yours, and they're a plague and should be wiped out.
Now, my question is, in this ape society, how technologically advanced do you think they're supposed to be?
Honestly...
Because it's all horseback.
What technology do we see?
We see guns.
They have guns from like the 70s, so there's been no advancement there. They figured out how to
brain surgery.
How hard is it? Brain surgery. They're not curing cancer. They're just putting an egg beater in someone's head.
That's true. Good point.
So. I'm not seeing them logging into AOL with a dial-up. I'm not seeing telephones, movies. No one's reading a book. I don't know.
This is a question. It's obviously discovered this is thousands of years, like 2,000 years in the future at least.
Well,
basically,
the only difference is now they speak English. They walk upright somewhat. But then they still want to jump around and squat and kind of swagger when they walk.
Yes. One homie with the fire hose gets really kind of hooping and hollering at one point. You have to, obviously, we have to suspend our disbelief because, as you know, chimpanzees are not remotely human-sized. And frankly, gorillas are much bigger.
Right.
Than humans.
And much more beefy. They're just giant muscular things that could pull your arm off.
Absolutely.
Not anymore.
Well, and that's the thing. Evolution, which we know is a fact, people, would not have affected them in only 2,000 years.
Well, maybe it's a mixture of whatever drifted over from the A-bomb. Maybe they're like X-Men. They're mutants.
That's what we have to accept, that they're basically mutants. It's a sad situation.
But not Ninja Turtles.
Right. So I have to say, not a whole hell of a lot happens for the first hour of this movie. It's a lot of wandering through the Forbidden Zone.
A little too much wandering through the Forbidden Zone.
A little too much wandering through the Forbidden Zone.
I saw that movie. There's a movie called The Forbidden Zone.
Was that with Molly Ringwald?
No, I believe
Space Hunter.
No, it's
Space Hunter Across the Forbidden Zone.
No, I'm thinking of the Knights of the Oingo Boingo. It's like an Oingo. Hervé Villachez is in it. Maybe that. Okay, maybe that'll be on our list.
That's your fever dream. Sweet
I'm
Jesus.
looking it up, and I'm texting that to you. For sure, it was not a Molly Ringwald reference.
Right when they crash, Landon, who I guess is a biologist or a geologist or something, analyzes the soil and says, nothing will grow here. And yet, 5 minutes later, things be growing.
He meant right there in that exact spot.
In the Forbidden Zone. So here's another question that I ask. Is this the only ape civilization, this city of 30 people?
Here it is, the Forbidden Zone. I stopped listening to you. The mystic knights of the Oingo Boingo tour the kinky realm of little King Fausto, Hervé Villachez, and his queen, Susan Tyrell.
I want all the listeners to see what just happened there. She stopped. She, like some of you guys do, I'm sure, zones out while I'm continually talking about the movie, and then just chimes in with some Oingo Boingo nonsense. Very upsetting. So
I have no idea what you were saying because immediately I'm like, I need to find out about the Forbidden Zone.
Is this the only ape civilization, this city of 30 people?
I would say yes.
Which seems bizarre.
Because besides everything else that's going on, they've never explored beyond. So how are they controlling reproduction?
They just they wear condoms and they do
it's like China,
rhythm method.
One child. You can't, one goes out, one can come in. Is that it? It's like waiting at a club.
Pretty much. I think that's how it works. Well, basically, for budgetary reasons, it's basically this one village. That's all we could afford to put on the screen. I mean, I'm imagining that's what it is, because the reason why it's the Forbidden Zone is because there's an archaeological dig that proves that people used to be intelligent and could speak and all those sorts of things. So they don't want people to go exploring and discover this truth.
And yet, Roddy McDowall did. I thought it was Forbidden Zone because of the radiation.
That might be part of it as well. It's a very complicated plot.
How did the monkeys, who were still monkeys when it happened, know about radiation? And did they all evolve, so now there are no primates?
Well, they are the primates. They're the primates.
You know what I'm talking about.
Why? I guess. Right. Why? Okay. You can't do physical comedy on an audio podcast. So you're asking, why are all apes intelligent now in these short 2,000 years? This movie does not tell us why at all. Does not.
I'm sorry. Why are orangutans the smartest of all?
Well, this is interesting. This stuff is all based upon humans' kind of preconceived ideas about these apes. Like when you go to the zoo, you see an orangutan, and in our mind, right or wrong, you see wise old men.
Yes, I would agree.
Sitting there. You know, you look at chimpanzees and you see like sweet little baby kind of things that you can snuggle up with. And gorillas are mindless brutes who are violent and angry.
For sure, they're warriors. I see that.
Right. And what's funny is that's all BS. Chimpanzees are the most violent and terrifying of all the apes.
That's the sound they make right before they eat your face.
Right before they rip your face off. Gorillas are surprisingly gentle. I'm not saying you want to go up and snuggle with them either. Right. Don't go snuggle with the gorillas either. But our preconceived ideas are false, is all I'm trying to say. Don't judge an ape by its cover.
Where do the monkeys from The Wizard of Oz, the flying monkeys, where do they fit in this story?
That's an excellent question. Sweet
that would have been fantastic. That could be the fourth. Maybe they were off on a mission to have them then show up at the end.
That is correct. And I have to say this. We haven't mentioned this before. I appreciate that all the apes speak perfect frankly, most of them are American, and there's a few British accents in there, but they all speak English. Perfect English. And Charlton Heston, even when they land and think they've come to another planet, he never puts two and two together and be like, it's strange that they speak English on this distant planet.
It is true. Did they ever check to see if there was even air before they popped the cap?
They did. They sent Dodge down that tube, which this is poor rocket ship construction.
with a periscope.
Yes. Hey, the air's good. Okay, come down the tube as we're drowning. poor. It's a sad situation. No, it's now these are things that were done to make it easier for, to make it as simple as possible. They're not going to have them speaking some crazy ape language because then it's hopeless. What are you going to have, subtitles? They speak English so that we can understand.
Can I say something?
Please do.
I don't know if you remember, there was this movie called like Hunt for Red October. And
I'm vaguely familiar
I don't know if you're familiar with that. But in that movie, not everyone spoke English. So when people spoke this language called like Russian, it would be like a subtitle underneath it.
Well, not true. Okay. This is how, initially they would have them speaking Russian with subtitles. And then they did this thing where the camera zoomed in on Sean Connery's mouth. And then he'd suddenly start speaking normal for him, non-accented English. And it wasn't until later that the Alec Baldwin and Scott Glenn arrived that they go back to that. I'm speaking Russian now, comrade. So yes, to what you're saying is they could have had something along the lines of the monkeys speak their monkey language.
And Charlton Heston has no idea what the fuck they're saying.
And then he's calmly gelded in the other room. End of the movie.
End of the movie, you damn dirty ape.
You damn dirty apes. And that's the thing. Charlton Heston in this movie looks like he's about 6.5 feet tall because they hired nothing but hobbits to play all the other apes.
Roddy McDowell was a giant in this movie.
He is a giant. So in this society in the future, the politicians are the orangutans who are all orange. The scientists and kind of mid-level people are the chimpanzees. And the gorillas are the laborers, basically.
And
they're the ones who... but they really aren't military in this. I mean, they kind of... because there's only like 15 gorillas or whatever. So, I mean, it's not a thriving military. But yes, they do have guns and hunt down the humans from time to time.
And there appears to be maybe one or two female of any sort in the entire colony.
Well, and that was a thing. Anytime they showed a female chimpanzee, I thought it was Zira. Because they all look the same to me.
We're going to need that mask for the next scene. Or maybe it's like, Richard the Lionhearted. They're like men who prefer the company of men.
We don't judge.
Okay.
We don't judge. Whatever floats your ape boat. I mean, do your thing.
The only problem with that situation would explain why it's such a small colony.
So, and what's funny is this movie, so it's like a bunch of, we're in the wilderness, whoa, what's going on, to a bunch of Charlton in a crazy cage, grunting, and not, because he gets shot non-fatally right in the throat, which keeps him from being able to speak for another 20 minutes of this movie. So there's a lot of him wearing dirty, filthy rags, while people go, damn, these humans stink to high heaven. And then it's like a courtroom drama.
There's a lot of bare bottoms in this movie. Just of the people, no monkey butts.
No monkey butts. Because later they're like, would you take those rags off that human? The stench offends my delicate nasal passages. And they pull the old rag that he was wearing, and you literally see Chuck's booty.
He has a pretty
Zoom
good booty,
in.
I will tell you that.
He loves to be like, hey, he practically volunteered. He's like, have at it. Come and get the goods. pretty much that is standard 70s Heston fare. He wants to go bare chested. It's almost like Kirk Douglas in Saturn 3, where it's like, look, I still got it.
Except,
I still
except
got
Kirk, I think, has got about 20 years on Heston at that point. Yikes.
it. Who's to say? A touch of evil.
Ugh.
So then it's a courtroom drama where they're like, we're going to charge Zira and Cornelius, who's Zira's husband, fiance, whatever he is. And he's an archaeologist. So it's like they're kind of sympathetic to Chuck's plight when he's revealed as he can speak. After, again, gorillas are big, powerful beasts. Chuck is throwing them around and doing some kind of kung fu. He's whooping ass. These guys would rip him up. One of them could whip him apart with one hand if this is a real gorilla type of situation.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
The one point where he escapes, that just went on for hours. It was like the car chases and Baby Drivers, where it just went on and on. I'm like, really? All you people can't find Charlton Heston? He's the only human. It's not like he's blending.
He's a 6'5" blonde guy running half naked through town. And again, the town is 10 square feet. So it's like he's literally running in circles around and around and around.
Hiding in the museum, scaring the children. And then let's run into the middle of the church because no one will notice that. It was ridiculous.
During the funeral.
It was ridiculous. Yes. It went on too long.
Charlton, what the hell? And sadly, that's kind of a reoccurring theme. Like every scene, a little too long. A little too much time here. A little too much time with the in the courtroom drama. Naked Heston is pleading his case while the orangutans do, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
We get
Knee
it.
slapper. Yeah, it's kind of like, this movie's only an hour long. Let's stretch.
Pretty much. Oh God. So later in the movie, they kidnap Dr. Zaius, who's in charge of everything, I guess. Because they said there's that thing you mentioned where it was like, he's the minister of science and the keeper of the faith.
Right. He's the queen.
And that's Charlton Heston. Right, exactly. Charlton Heston basically says, it's like, how can you be the minister of science and the keeper of the faith? And Dr. says, there's no contradiction here. Is he a villain? Because sometimes it seemed like, I guess I kind of see his point. What do you think?
Well, because this is the criticism of all religion. Remember when there was the scandal in the Mormon church with the salamander letter, and the church reached out and had one of their people buy it to hide it because it would make like the original founders, if it was ever released, seem like they were just crazy frauds. So
what's the salamander?
Okay,
letter?
So there was this dude who was an expert forger, and he forged documents, and he made a fortune. Like he'd go buy a book from that period and tear out the blank front page. So if you dated it, it would be appropriate. He figured out how to make the fake inks, and he started reaching out to the LDS. Well, I have all these significant letters from, Joseph Smith, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, there's where it was not the angel Moroni who came before him. I'm trying to remember this. But in fact, a salamander who came and prophesied.
I see.
So the church doesn't buy things directly. They go through their people and have their, I don't know what they call them, parishioners, then buy the money and as a donation, turn it over so they can bury it.
Interesting. Okay. Because Dr. Zaius basically admitted that he knew that people had been intelligent in the past. But it was considered heresy to even contemplate that. Like they were at the end of the movie, he's like, you, Cornelius and Zira, will be tried for heresy. But he's like, and that's when Lucius is like, Dr. Zaius, this is inexcusable.
Oh my God.
But he says, like, it gives me no pleasure to do this. What about the future, Dr. Zaius? I may have just saved it for you. So it's like, he's a bad guy.
He's maintaining the status quo, right or wrong.
Right. But that's the thing. It's like when they talk about how man is this horrible person, they're horrible. Charlton Heston, that was basically his belief.
I was waiting for someone to say, you're becoming just like us. Where was that line?
That wasn't there.
It wasn't. That was a huge opportunity that could be lost. That could have been lost. So you've got religion and the state combined. So you have total control over the people. Because it always works out so well when you have the one religion and it's tied directly to the government. Because then, if you're against the government, you must be against God. Heretic, burn, burn, burn them all.
Burn them. But so he knows, and that's why he's like, he basically lets Charlton Heston go. So when the guerrillas come down with their guns, he's just like, let him go, let him go.
For what reason?
Like, beware.
For what reason? Shoot him.
Why not?
And shoot these other people too. They don't care.
Because I don't think he was meant to be like purely evil. Even though like Cornelius is dragged off, Zara's still like, what will he find, Dr. Zaius? It's like, wait a minute, your fiance was just dragged off in chains. Not worried about that?
That relationship was going nowhere.
She had her eye on Julius, the gorilla in the play. Anyway, good times. Can you think of anything else you want to talk about?
The best part is when Roddy McDowall goes to kiss his girlfriend, and literally the masks just cave in on each other. It makes like a clicking sound.
Right. Well, they just have to chew at each other.
But the whole front like collapses in. It was beautiful.
I have to say, look, the masks are not perfect, but I think they're pretty damn good, considering.
Yeah, why not?
Not impressed. Not impressed.
Okay. It's all right. It's the 70s, so hey, I grew up with that Star Wars when they went to the bar full of Muppets, so you can't complain about that,
I always laugh about how when the Phantom Menace came out in the early 2000s, I think, or late 90s, I'm trying to remember when it was. It's like anything that wasn't computer generated was basically they gave the guy $5 and said, hit the Halloween shop on your way to the set. Because the people in the background, their masks are like so crappy. It was like, we spent every nickel we have on the computer effects. Everybody, all the background characters, you're on your own. Whatever you can find around the house.
We went to Thrifties the day after Halloween when everything was marked down 90% off, and away we went.
That's all you can do. No, I mean, look, like I said, it's not perfect, but I think it's pretty good for what they. Again, this is 68. This isn't even the 70s.
Oh, it's perfectly fine.
Sweet Jesus. Shall we talk about behind the scenes?
Oh, I hope you have some juicy bits. Was it like, did you ever see that movie with Chevy Chase? It was like Under the Rainbow about all the leprechauns when they were filming The Wizard of Oz. And
I didn't see it, but I've heard
of
it.
Why? A drunken debauchery. I want to hear about the monkey actors and their drunken, the bacchanal.
It is straight ape bacchanal. I'm not going to lie to you. Well, what they discovered is because it took hours to put these appliances on these poor bastards.
You didn't just pull it over their head?
No, it's like they would attach different things, and the people who were the chimps would get pissed off because the gorillas and the orangutans didn't have ears. So that was one less appliance that they had to glue on them. So. And once it was on, it needs to be on basically all day. So when it was lunchtime or dinner time, they would liquefy the food and feed them like that, and with a straw. And it got to be such a nightmare that Kim Hunter, who played Zero, basically said, I'm just not eating. I'm not eating while I'm wearing this crap. I will wait till I take it
Oh
off.
my God. This seems
Um,
like a human rights violation.
It's absolutely a human rights violation. So when they would eat, just instinctively on their own, the chimps would eat with the chimps, the gorillas would eat with the gorillas, and the orangutans would eat with the orangutans.
Oh.
Naturally
It's
segregated.
becoming the Stanford prison experiment.
It absolutely is. It's a sad situation. Roddy McDowell would go to the San Diego Zoo and sit and stare at apes. And he was the one who came up with all the ticks and things that the gorillas do and the chimps do. And he taught that to the other actors how to do
Oh.
it. Yeah, that's Roddy McDowell. Kim Hunter, who played Zira, she would go to like the New York Zoo or whatever and try to do the same things. Because at the time they were, scattered about. So in preparation, this is what they would do.
And of course, there was no internet. I guess they could have watched Wild Kingdom or something.
Mutual of Omaha with Marlon Perkins. Kim Hunter, they put so much stuff on her face, like adhesive, that her skin would break out. So she would go to sleep each night with just like Vaseline over her face to try to heal. And she would say, like, don't have me in monkey makeup and ape makeup more than 4 days in a row. Give me a day off in between just to recuperate. It was such a nightmare for her. They originally offered the role of Zira to Audrey Hepburn, who turned it down.
Oh, of course she did.
She regretted turning it down.
What?
Yes, she said it would have been a chance to kind of really explore acting as not like this beautiful waif or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like now all you will see is my acting performance.
Oh my!
Not my attractiveness.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong, lady.
You think it'll come right out?
Oh my God!
People will see. We'll see the beauty all the way through.
She just died this year, by the way.
Audrey Hepburn?
No. Kim Hunt, or what did you say? What's her name? Kim.
Oh, Zira? Yeah, Kim Hunt. Oh. Well, what's interesting is she came up to Charlton Heston at one of the first test screenings and started talking to him, and he had no idea who she was.
No, I'm sorry. She died in 2002. I can't read.
Kim, if you're listening, no offense. He had no idea who she was because he never saw her outside of her makeup.
Oh, that's wild.
She had to reintroduce herself. Yep. Very sad. There's a scene where Charlton Heston is like in his chains, like in the cages. They're spraying him. And he was sick with the flu.
Ugh.
So this guy, and he felt like kind of the horse. Get your stinking paw. That was all coming from the fact that he was sick to his stomach.
Ugh.
So there you go. Good times. The woman who played Nova.
Yes.
Her name was Linda Harrison, I believe is her name. The only reason she was in the movie is because she was having an affair with the producer, Zanuck. So he threw her a role. Good times.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. In the original script, the female native humans were all bare-breasted.
Of course.
Like a National Geographic video. The Fox censor said, no can do. You got to give them something. Throw a little something on them.
We'll give you Chuck's booty along with the other astronauts, but that's as far as we're going. I kept trying to think when they were diving in the pool if I was going to see something extra, but I couldn't be bothered to hit pause.
Yes. So there's the naked skinny dipping scene, males only. It was like a Wham video. Then you've got full frontal Charlton Heston in the courtroom. So not full frontal, but as full as I'm willing to see.
Full rear
There you go. Good time. Full rear roll. Sweet Jesus. There was something else I was going to say, and it just went right out of my mind. I don't remember. There was something really cool. Oh, so it was originally based upon a book. It was a French novel. called Planet of the Apes,
Is it
Gorilla Planet, something along those lines.
Le Planète de la Apes?
Yeah, from the original French. Uh, and they optioned it in the original book. When the astronaut lands, the planet is basically 1950s Earth. It's that level. So it's like the apes walk around wearing business suits and fedoras and things like that. That was the original concept from the
That
book.
could be kind of interesting, actually, except for the fedoras.
Except you can't go wrong with a fedora. And then he escapes. He gets onto his ship with Nova and tries to fly back to Earth. So this is really another planet. But when he arrives back on Earth 3,000 years later, it has also followed the same path.
Oh, I kind of like
So that's
that
kind of the double
better.
whammy.
I kind of like that better.
And there's like a story frame where it's, a family are sitting on the beach. They are, relaxing, and a bottle washes up on shore, and they're reading the story, and that's the story, the Planet of the Apes. And at the end, it's revealed that they're gorillas, and they go, "Oh no, this is obviously BS. No human could ever write this," and kind of throw it back in the ocean. So it's a double whammy thing. Now, the original script for the movie was written by, do you know this?
Ian Fleming.
Rod Serling.
Ooh.
Rod Serling of Twilight Zone fame took the first path. He wrote like 40 different drafts. Then they brought on another screenwriter to kind of polish it and finish it up. And they had to take into account, the amount of money that they're willing to spend, because people did not want to make this movie.
What?
The idea of a planet full of apes did not appeal, even with Charlton already signed up. So that tells you where his star was at that moment. They were not dying to make it, but it became a huge hit, and they made 1,000 different sequels and a short-lived TV series also starring Roddy McDowall. Roddy was in every iteration of this.
He's been living off his childhood fame his entire career.
Oh, we love Roddy McDowall.
He's the B king, and he was like the head of the Academy of Arts and Science.
Absolutely, they saw his work in Planet of the Apes.
I heard a lot of criticism. I forgot who he blocked somebody famous from joining the Academy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember.
We'll have to find out. We'll have to look that up.
I'm going to the internet.
I think that's about it. While you're looking about it, let me talk about the cast and crew, shall we?
Yes.
We said that the director was a man named Franklin J. Schaffner, who also directed Patton, The Boys from Brazil.
I love Boys from Brazil.
Other things. And like I said, the screenplay was written by Rod Serling and also Michael Wilson, who wrote Lawrence of Arabia, Bridge on the River Kwai, Place in the Sun, all sorts of good stuff. So this is like real people are involved in this, for goodness sake.
Are you ready?
Please.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, Roddy, you're wrong. You're wrong on this one.
He can't get no respect.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Now the cast. Of course, we got Charlton Heston playing George Taylor, although no one ever calls him George in the course of this movie. You know him from Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, Soylent Green,
yes!
Omega Man, Let the Good Times Roll.
And we do need to mention that Soylent Green does take place in 2022.
You can already, guys, go online and Google Soylent, and there is a company that will sell you some kind of nutritional supplement. What is it made of? Who's to say?
They say soy, but I doubt it. It must be humans.
It must be humans. Roddy McDowall played Cornelius, the sympathetic chimpanzee. You know him from Fright Night, of course. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Overboard, with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. He played the butler Andrew. He's great.
That was funny. Not as good as Captain Ron, though.
Not as good. Kim Hunter played Zira. You know her from A Streetcar Named Desire. She was Stella in A Streetcar Named Desire. Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. A lot of Planet of the Apes in Kim Hunter's deal there. Maurice Evans played Dr. Zaius. What do we know Maurice Evans from, Aaron?
I can see his face. Oh, from Trading Places.
No. Was he in Trading Places?
Was he the butler?
No, that was Denham Elliott from the Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones movie.
But I know Maurice Evans, so tell me.
You do. He was Hutch from Rosemary's Baby.
You're right.
He was the friendly guy who he didn't go blind. He just dropped dead after trying to help Rosemary, basically, right? Something along those lines. Something bad happened to him. He was also in Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. He was in The Jerk with Steve Martin in 1979. Not too shabby. He was also on Bewitched for years.
Was it Uncle somebody or other?
Uncle Hoosie Flankus, if I remember correctly. Let me look it up. I just remember.
It's not Dr. Von Bay.
No, he played Maurice.
Right on. Okay.
12 episodes. He played himself, essentially. Let's see. James Whitmore played President of the Assembly, one of the other crazy
I know that name. Why do I know that name, Kevin?
He was Brooks from Shawshank Redemption.
No.
Give 'Em Hell.
No.
The Asphalt Jungle.
Mm-mm.
The Relic.
Nah.
If you remember that one.
Nah.
That was a good one.
Maybe.
Anyway, he's a famous actor.
I know the name. Apparently not.
Yep. I'm not going to look for anybody else. Good times.
I don't think it's necessary.
Not necessary. Let's talk about our rating, shall we?
Yeah, I think we shall, friend.
Planet of the Apes currently is 86% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score 87.
Not too
Good
bad.
times. Not too shabby. Let me see if I can get some top critics.
We need a Rex Reed review.
Rex Reed says, "What is this shit?" I'm paraphrasing. Let me see. Okay. Top critics. Let me see if I can recognize any. Pauline Kael.
Do we even know who the top critics were from 1968?
Somebody does. Pauline Kael from The New Yorker pictures an enormous, many-layered black joke on the hero and the audience, and part of the joke is the use of Charlton Heston as the hero. I don't think the movie would have been so forceful or so funny with anyone else. She liked it, strangely. It doesn't sound like she likes it, but she liked it.
What if they reversed the role and Roddy McDowell was Taylor?
Roger Ebert! 3 out of 4. It is quickly paced. Oh, that's a lie. Completely entertaining, and its philosophical pretensions don't get in the way. So that's good to know. That's it. Other names I do not recognize. So good time. So Aaron, what is your rating for Planet of the Apes?
I am going to give it, and part of it, of course, is for nostalgia, and part of it because, it's still pretty good. I'm going to give it 3.75 Charlton Heston's castrated gelded balls out of 5.
Which do not appear in this movie, by the way. Sweet Jesus.
3 and 3/4 hedgehogs rolling around in my hand.
Sweet. This is getting worse by the second. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think I'm probably about there too. 3.5, 3.75. Damn dirty monkey paws. I don't know. Who's to say?
I think you come up with something. We combine the story of the monkey paw with the Planet of the Apes.
I mean, is that too much to ask?
The Planet of the Monkey Paw. There we go.
The Planet of the Monkey Paw. Now, I enjoyed this movie because it sounds like I'm winding up to say I hated it, but there are definitely times where you're like a little slow going. This is almost 2 hours, and it probably should have been about an hour 20.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Stiff editing could have done some great things here.
some stiff editing, but it does kind of make me want to watch the other ones. Am I mad? Perhaps.
You've gone mad!
So there you go. Good times had by all. So thank you very much. Go to our page on Facebook at the podcast that wouldn't die. Go to our page on Twitter at tpodcast twdie. Aaron, we are on Insta.
We are the podcast that wouldn't die on the gram.
On the gram. You can also email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail.
Whoop, whoop.
We are we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, review, for goodness sake.
In the name of all that is holy, you damn dirty apes better get out there and rate and review.
It's a madhouse. Aaron, you were also on social media.
I am on the Insta. I am the cult of Aaron. I am also Don't Feed the Pigeon. And I'm on this Twitter thing. I'm not on, what is it, Parlay. We don't hear much about that anymore, do we?
Thank goodness for that. Next week, we'll be doing another Brian De Palma. It's a never-ending stream of De Palma classics.
What kind of a thing? Are you getting kickbacks from the estate of Brian Palmer? Because we've literally now watched, just this year, have watched like 45. His entire catalog has now been reviewed by us.
First of all, I don't know who Brian Palmer is. We're doing, as far as I know, we're doing Brian De Palma.
That's what I said.
We're doing Body Double starring a young Melanie Griffith. So you have that to look forward to.
Oh my God, she's the fucking worst. Give me a break.
Melanie, if you're listening, no offense. Now, how can a normal person watch Body Double, you ask?
And why would a normal person watch Body Double? That's what you should ask.
Why on earth would one watch Body
I'm already
Double?
steeling myself, preparing myself psychologically to be forced to watch this.
Prepare yourself, because you are gonna have to spend $2.99.
What? You better Venmo me.
It is on Prime Video, Vudu, Apple TV, Redbox, some other things. I don't know what that is. So check it out. Enjoy the fun of Body Double.
Oh my God! Because Jeff Bezos needs more money for his Mars colony, so he can make Total Recall come true. Why, in any right-thinking world, should I pay $2.99 when I'm already paying $120 to watch this on his fucking streaming service? Damn you, Jeff Bezos!
Is that how much you pay for Prime Video? $120?
No, they bumped it.
Sweet.
You don't have Prime?
Check mailing. I do have Prime. I didn't know it was that expensive. Perhaps
they wiggle it up all the time.
Wiggle it. There you have it. So thank you very much, and be well, you damn dirty apes.
Bye. Don't blow up the earth.
You maniacs!